When you look at the Jeffrey Epstein deal, whether he was with Mossad or with the CIA or whatever, and you go back to, I think, 2015 or 16 with Alex Acosta, the prosecutor in Florida, that initially said, we have him dead to right on everything, and then backed off and said, he's not to be touched. We got the word down, or he's to be handled with kid gloves. The word that screams here is blackmail. This was Epstein's deal. Blackmail. Who he was doing it for, on whose behalf he was working, who knows? I don't know if we'll ever find this out, but there could be no other logical explanation that this guy can get away with this kind of stuff, have this kind of wealth. When you go back into his history, I did a deep dive on him. It screams of blackmail, maybe starting with Wexner, that handed over the power of attorney to him to all of his properties, a billionaire. I mean, it made no sense. So he had to have something on powerful people here all the way down the line.
The thing with Epstein, and people ask me this, was Epstein Mossad? Because he did have pretty hardcore links to Israel, and Ehud Barak, the former prime minister, and Epstein were very close friends. So as close a friend as Epstein can have. So the Mossad very well might have been involved in Epstein's blackmail shenanigans, but I really don't see the CIA allowing the Mossad to compromise American politicians on American soil without getting a cut of that intelligence. I don't see that. And when we're talking about the dark side of the Mossad, and when we're talking about the dark side of the CIA, we're basically talking about the Gambino crime family and the Genovese crime family. I mean, because
exactly,
there's both those organizations have committed mind-boggling criminality. And this is a little bit off topic, but do you remember there was the gasoline scam that you were part of, and
yeah,
and there was Joseph Reich shot. I guess a guy named Markowitz who was involved with the Colombo family.
Markowitz, he was my partner. Yeah,
and he went. Now I was told by Gas Pipe, people that don't know, he was the former underboss or acting boss of the Lucchese crime family, that Reich split the U.S. with $250 million. And that Reich was Mossad.
He split with who?
I was told, Gas Pipe told me that Reich split the United States with somewhere around $200 to $250 million. And that he was Mossad.
Well, I don't know that. My problem with Gas Pipe is ever since he tried to claim, credit or the blame, whatever side you're on, you can look at it, that he created the whole gas thing, which was total fabrication. He didn't create anything. I have a problem with his credibility. Although I'm sure a lot of the things he said were pretty accurate, but, and listen, somebody running away or walking away with $200 million out of the gas tax is that's very likely that could have happened. So I can't comment on whether that was true or not. I know Markowitz was my partner, and we generated that kind of money on a weekly basis. So it's very possible.
And from what I understand, Reich was Mossad, and the U.S. wanted to extradite him, and Israel wouldn't do it. So that was the first. I interviewed Gas Pipe in 1999, and that was the first time I had ever thought outside the box about like the Mossad being a criminal enterprise. And since then, there's been many examples of it. So I believe that the CIA and the Mossad were probably working together when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein.
Had to be something. He had to have a lot of protection and a lot of dirt on people of substance. There's no other way to get around this. I mean, and also lately, I'm sure you heard the statement that Dan Bongino made that I happen to have a lot of respect for. I like Dan a lot. He said he's seeing things in the swamp or the deep state that he never even dreamed would be possible. Something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing him, but what people don't understand is how deep, the corruption is in our government. Not only in our government, but in governments worldwide. They're worse than any mob family on the street, Nick. You know that because they have the power, they have the money, they have the resources, they have everything, and they have the laws, which we didn't have. So, but this is so, the fact that they can't come together, both sides, and say, for once, we're going to please the public and do the right thing when it comes to such a depraved thing as pedophilia and human trafficking of young girls and boys. We're going to get together and we're going to do the right thing. They can't even do that because, I interviewed Paul Hutchinson. Do you know who Paul is? Between you and Paul, the things that you've told me about this human trafficking, it's just sickening. It's among the elite and it's among the powerful. And the fact that we all can't get together on this and try to solve such a depraved thing that's going on, so prevalent here in the United States, is just, I just hope people keep demanding answers. I really mean it.
Well, we have to do that. I mean, we have to do that. We cannot let the government cover this up.
Let's get to, the really current news on this, and that's Ghislaine Maxwell. I read today, I know she spent allegedly 2 days with somebody from the Department of Justice, one of their attorneys. And then I heard today that she's going to take the 5th if she's subpoenaed by Congress. I'm wondering if that was a setup that she takes the 5th because those are public hearing. I think it's a public hearing. I don't know. Again, this just smells cover up for me. It just smells that, hey, we're not going to let this information out. I don't think we're ever going to get any. I don't think we're going to get to the bottom of this. I really don't. I don't think we can. Too many heads would fall.
I think that we can. The thing with Ghislaine Maxwell, I mean, she is evil. I mean, I think that she had more evil in her than probably Epstein. And the women or girls that she molested and trafficked, they really think that she's evil. So for the government to even consider making a deal with, I mean, she got it really easy. She was only indicted on one count of child trafficking, which is 15 to life in the Fed system. She should have been indicted on 80 counts of child trafficking. She should never have seen the light of day. And exemplary prisoners that are getting close to the end of their sentence are put in dormitories. And she was put into a dormitory very quickly. And
in Florida, a 20-year sentence, and she went to a camp.
Yeah.
I mean, give me a break.
In a dormitory.
Come on.
So she's been taken care of. But
Nick, I'll tell you my theory there. And again, I'm thinking street. They probably went there and said, listen, keep your mouth shut. You saw what happened to Epstein. The same thing's going to happen to you. Do some of your time. We'll work it out later on. That's what I believe happened. And
I believe that wrong. Absolutely.
Yeah.
In the book I wrote about a trafficking network, Lawrence King was one of the pimps and Craig Spence was one of the pimps. And King kept his mouth shut. And he did about 12 years. And he had a no-show job waiting for him in Alexandria, Virginia, at a BMW dealership. Craig Spence, who was in Washington, D.C., who had a mansion that was rated for audiovisual blackmailed a lot of guys. Craig Spence was used to creature comforts. Jeffrey Epstein was used to creature comforts. Those guys could not have kept their mouth shut. They just couldn't have. And that's why I think that both of them are dead. I do believe that Craig Spence himself, I believe that 100%.
Yeah.
But I also believe that he was, either you do it or we'll do it. And the same thing was probably made with Epstein, the same type of deal.
Yeah. You know what? It gets me sick that I knew guys that under the RICO statute, where the predicate act was gambling and got 15, 20 years with no parole, for gambling. And this guy was a pedophile, human trafficker of children, gets what? He gets he was on work release every single day, and it's not
molesting girls, by the way.
Yeah. Molesting little girls.
When he was on work release.
It's unbelievable that we have a government that would stand for this.
Well, what's really troubling is you've got Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House. Representative Massey put a bill forward that would mandate an investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. And Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, adjourned Congress early so that bill couldn't be voted on.
So disappointing to hear that. It's so disappointing, Nick, to hear that. You lose and I kind of liked him, and I said, okay, I actually went to a dinner that he was at, and I said, okay, he's a good guy. But when you hear that, it's like everything just comes out of you for that person. Really.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I felt. There's been people that I really looked up to, and then when I looked at their dark side, what's kind of amazing is the veneer that these guys can operate with, where they just seem squeaky clean, but yet they're on the inside, they're as dark as coal. I mean,
they're bad. They're demonic. I want to ask you this. I'm trying, because I don't want to be so disappointed with Trump, because I think he's doing a good job in other areas, that we really needed him to do, keeping his campaign promises and doing a good job. But I'm saying to myself, okay, he's a deal maker. He's a negotiator. He likes to have leverage. He likes to hold the cards. Could it be that he's allowing the left to, throw it out there that Trump is covering up because he has liability here? And then at some point in time, maybe before the midterms, maybe whenever he thinks it's right, the same way he did when he attacked Iran, he said he's going to give him 2 weeks. And then the next day or 2 days later, he attacked the nuclear plant. Maybe he's waiting strategically to just open it up and put that list out there. Is that a silly theory? Do you think that doesn't make any sense? I'm just trying to give him the benefit of the doubt.
No, you're trying to get your mind around it. I get it.
Yeah.
I believe if you look at everything that the Trump administration has done about this, it's been duplicitous. Everything. So I can't really see the Trump administration coming clean. And then Mike Johnson refusing a vote in the House to investigate this. I just think, I believe that he had his marching orders from the administration. That's what I believe. And I can't, like Alexander Acosta, when he gave Jeffrey Epstein his sweetheart deal, he was told, you've got to back away from Epstein, he's intelligence. And there's only two people in the country in the government that can tell a U.S. attorney to stand down. One is the attorney general and one is the president. And at that time, Alberto Gonzalez was the attorney general and Bush too was the president. And an attorney general isn't going to go out on the limb and cover up a nationwide pedophile network unless his boss says do it. So I believe that Bush and Gonzalez were the first ones to really cover up Jeffrey Epstein. And to get a House Speaker, this is really hurting him politically, and it might be the end of his political career because he's doing this. Who told him to stand down? It has to be someone in the administration, or he's severely blackmailed, one or the other.
My friends, if you enjoyed this video, I'm going to give you an opportunity to become my partner in business. Franzese Wine experiencing tremendous growth over the past couple of years, and we're going to experience even further growth in the next few years. You're going to have an opportunity to be my partner because you've been supporting me, you've been my fan base, and I want to share this with you. So go to invest.franzesewine.com, and offer you shouldn't refuse.